Okay, we are live, and I'm just going live sort of immediately without giving you any time to log on because I wanted to show you this amazing sunset behind me. And, you know, so you're welcome. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. We're camping in the mountains of Lori province in Armenia, and I just heard about the news that the International Criminal Court is seeking an arrest warrant for Bibi Netanyahu, some of the other leaders of Israel, as well as some of the leaders of Hamas, like Yahya Sinwar. And all of them are being charged with war crimes. And I just wanted to talk. I've only got a few minutes because I'm going to go on CBN's YouTube channel here shortly and talk about this. But I just wanted to get on here and kind of record my thoughts and talk a little bit about the ridiculous. Okay, are we back now? Okay. Hi, Chuck, Pennsylvania. What? Hi. Well, my internet was really good. Internet was really good when I started. I don't know what happened. Like I said, I only have a few minutes. I just wanted to tell you about this. Yeah, an arrest warrant for Bibi. Now, they have not issued it, but they are seeking an arrest warrant for Netanyahu and some of the other leadership of Israel. Now, to try to maybe make that sound, I keep losing my connection, and that's not good. I had a great connection all day. I don't know what's going on here. So, do you think he will hide? Amy asks, who? Do I think that Netanyahu will hide? No, I don't think Netanyahu will hide. Netanyahu has also been saying this is an absolute travesty of justice. This just goes to show how ridiculous the ICC has become. This goes to show that the ICC should not receive any funding from the United Nations and thereby from the United States taxpayer. So if you didn't know, the ICC is what was established as supposedly a separate entity or an independent entity from the United Nations, but it was established by the United Nations as a separate entity. And so, yeah, I had really good internet out here, and now it's been kind of dying, but hopefully it's back now. Isn't this beautiful, though? This is amazing. I mean, we're camping up here tonight. We've set up a campsite up on this little knoll here, and the view is just unbelievable. I don't know that I've ever had a better campsite than this, but anyway, gorgeous. Now, let's talk about this. Is there any way, shape, or form that the International Criminal Court could actually put teeth to this if they do get an arrest warrant issued against Bibi Netanyahu and other Israeli leadership? Well, they could. It could limit the ability to travel because, for example, if Netanyahu were to fly to South Africa, they would arrest him and, deliver him over to, I don't know, be put in jail somewhere. Most likely, this is not going to go anywhere. Remember, the Israelis are not party to the International Criminal Court, and neither is the United States. And reconnect. Stop it. And here we go. Okay. So we did not become party to the ICC just for this reason, because you have an unelected body of people that aren't even American imposing their own decisions about values, legality, morals, things like that. And yeah, well, they did, one time, Mama, they did also request an arrest warrant for Yahya Sinwar and the leadership of Hamas for war crimes. But how in the world can you try to say that those two are the same thing? I mean, one group attacked Israel without provocation on October 7th, burned babies, beheaded people, raped women, took hostages, and then when Israel goes to defend itself, somehow that's a war crime? This is what I was talking about. I did a live about this some time ago, a few days ago, talking about can they even win with these kinds of ridiculous rules in place. Now, the ICC was put into place, was created to try to put a stop to the egregious brutality that we saw during World War II, to try to make sure that those kinds of things like what happened in the Holocaust would never happen again. And it's just interesting to see that it has shifted so much. It has just sort of a mission creep so much in the ICC that now they're going after the very group of people that the ICC was created to try to help, to try to keep that kind of genocide from ever happening again. And if we've said this over and over again, how can you say that the Israelis are committing genocide against the people in Gaza if they're the worst genociders ever, because they've provided, I don't know, 3 million gallons a month of clean, fresh water to the people in Gaza. They have provided just hundreds of tons of food to those people. They have gone out of their way to not kill civilians, to warn the civilians. They even to the point of putting themselves at greater risk, because when you go in and tell everybody, okay, we're going to hit this house next, what does that tell your enemy? It says we're going to be right here next. And so if you want to ambush us, this would be a good place to ambush us. So the IDF regularly puts themselves at greater risk in order to warn civilians, to try to save civilian lives, to avoid civilian casualties, and get them out of harm's way. So if they're trying to genocide the Palestinians, they're doing a really bad job of it. And to try to say that they are intentionally harming the civilians when they're doing literally more than any other army on earth to, avoid that, this is a clown show. The ICC has become a self-parody. And so for them to come out and say, oh yeah, we're requesting an arrest warrant against like Bibi Netanyahu and some of the other leadership of the Israeli government, and we're holding them accountable because some civilians have died in Gaza, when we just literally found out that the number of dead in Gaza is less than half of the numbers everybody has been parroting in the media over and over and over again. They've been saying, there's 34,000 dead, there's 34,000 dead. President Biden has been using those numbers. And we just recently found out even the mainstream media can no longer justify using those numbers because they are so ridiculous, and the real numbers are likely less than half of that. And the IDF has been saying all along, we've killed something like 14,000 terrorists. These are military-age males. That means that you're talking about virtually everyone that has been killed in Gaza has been a military-age male. The number of actual women and children that have been killed by stray fire, by unintended fire by the IDF, is so small that it's a rounding error. Now, there have been some women and children killed, and many of the women and children that were killed by errant missiles fired by Hamas at Israel. But they were made from a light pole or something like that. And if they were made from a light pole, it's not likely they're going to be very good at aiming those things. And so, right? Somebody said, don't forget the 4,000 natural deaths in this amount of time. Right. So the fact that things are bad in Gaza because the people in Gaza attacked Israel on October 7th. Let's go back to October 6th. what was going on in Gaza. There were 500 trucks a day worth of aid going into Gaza. The people in Gaza had a unemployment rate over 25% because they didn't need to work, because they were getting given aid for everything. Virtually everything that they were consuming in Gaza was being given to them. They weren't buying it. They weren't creating anything. They weren't growing anything and exporting it for sale and then using that money to buy what they needed. They weren't doing that. They were receiving almost everything that they needed in aid from the United States, the European Union, the United Nations, okay? And then they come in and kill 1,000 people in Israel, murder, rape, pillage, not just Hamas fighters, but civilians as well. They know at least 1,000 civilians, probably more, probably 2,000 civilians went through the holes in the fence into Israel, started stealing televisions and stealing everything they could get their hands on, and literally killing people and taking prisoners, civilians did, back into Gaza. So that people group, now we're supposed to coddle them? Now we're supposed to feel bad that things are bad where they live? We're supposed to feel bad that their house got blown up when it was being used to fire rockets at Israel, when it was being used to shoot at Israeli troops, when it was being used to store weapons and equipment or to hide a terror tunnel entrance? We're supposed to feel bad about that? We're supposed to feel bad that their house got destroyed because it was booby-trapped to blow itself up and kill Israeli soldiers when they entered that house? These are not civilized people. And there is no possible way to ensure that this doesn't happen again unless Israel does exactly what they are doing right now. So it's so unbelievably ridiculous that there's this world body who calls itself the International Court of Justice, like they're supposed to administer justice, and they're saying that it's a war crime for Israel to defend itself because they're using violence to do so. So, I mean, let's boil this down to like your family, okay? Somebody comes through your door with a gun and starts beating beats you up, ties you up, starts beating your wife in front of you, starts to rape your wife. You get a hold of a knife or something and you stab that person and stop them from raping your wife or kill them as they're in the act. And the police come and they say, this is very bad. You used violence. That's illegal. You killed this person. It's illegal for you to do that. You have to go to jail now. There are places in the world like that. I did a whole series several years ago about how in many countries in Europe, like Germany and Austria, you are literally prohibited from protecting yourself if someone is raping you. You are literally prohibited from using violence to stop someone from harming you or those people you love. If you do, if somebody comes into your house and starts raping your wife in front of you and you use violence to make him stop, you will go to jail in places like the UK and Germany and Austria. I have to say, there's no possible way you could ever con me into living in a place like that, because self-defense is a natural right. Contrary to what many on the left like to say, that health care is a natural right, or nice housing is a natural right, or food security is a natural right. All of those things require someone else to do something for you and not get paid for it. Those things are not natural rights. But the self-defense, they're saying now self-defense is not a natural right. You do not have a right to defend yourself. I would love to sit down with one of these judges from the ICC and say, what would you expect Israel to do after October 7th? What would have been the right thing to do? What would have been the right response to that? I asked some Arab traders that in the old city of Jerusalem when I was there last. I literally asked them that question. And the one guy said, well, they could go in and they could, do some pinpoint strikes and kill some, bad guys. That they could find the people, the exact people who, did the crimes or if they actually did those, and then just kill those people. Yeah, but those people are wearing civilian clothes and they are being sheltered in the populace in Gaza. So the people in Gaza are hiding the criminals who participated in October 7th. And you think there shouldn't be any consequence for that? Look, if after October 7th, the people in Gaza had said, this is egregious, this is terrible, we denounce this, and they had, gone in a mob and grabbed those, remaining, there were only maybe several hundred who actually made it back into Gaza. Most of them died in Israel. But, they had grabbed them and taken them to the border fence and offered them up and said, we denounce this, we are against this, here are the guys who did it, and we're turning them over for justice in Israel. Then you know what? Israel would never have bombed Gaza. They would never have sent troops into Gaza. They wouldn't have needed to do that. But the people in Gaza didn't turn over those criminals. They celebrated those criminals. They hid those criminals. They helped those criminals by taking the hostages and hiding them in their basements and their attics. The people in Gaza are complicit with what happened on October 7th. They are complicit. There's no two ways about it. And that being the case, the only possible thing, just thing for Israel to do would be to go in and do exactly what they're doing. They're trying to avoid civilian casualties. They have spent billions of dollars on food and tents and medical care and, warnings for the people in there to keep them from being killed. It's now becoming very clear that they've been very successful at that. There have been precious few children and women, non-combatants killed. Virtually all of the people that have been killed in this war have been military-age males. You say, well, they're not wearing uniforms. Well, of course they're not wearing uniforms. If they're wearing uniforms, it's easier to figure out who they are. They're not wearing uniforms because they are cowards. And that's part of their strategy. Cowardice is Hamas strategy. So that being the case, Israel needs to keep doing what they're doing and just ignore the criminal court. If the ICC wants to issue an arrest warrant for Bibi Netanyahu, and if I was Netanyahu, I'd say bring it. Bring it. Good luck with that. The country who grabs me, who tries to detain me, is going to get nuked. And that's all I got to say about that. All right, folks, I have got to go and get on CBN's YouTube channel. I would love it if all 1,000 of you would go over there, because we're going to be talking about this and the death of the Iranian president, which happened last night. I am now in Lori province. That's the northern part of Armenia. But 2 days ago, I was in Sunik province, which is the province that borders Iran. And if you go watch the live that I did this morning, I showed you some of the videos that I shot down there on the border that show you what the mountains look like. They're not too much different from these mountains here. I'll just turn the camera around a little bit and show you these mountains. Isn't this beautiful out here? This is why I love coming to Armenia right here. I mean, this is spectacular. And the mountains that they have in Iran right across the border, because the helicopter crash from President Raisi in Iran happened just a few miles from the Armenian border. And so when I was on the Armenian border looking into Iran, I was looking at the mountain range that he crashed and died in. And so I got some video of that. I showed you that on the live this morning. They're bigger than these mountains behind me. These ones are about 7,000 feet above sea level at the highest. The ones down there are closer to 11,000 feet above sea level. So a lot more extreme topography down there than we see here. But suffice it to say, if you're flying around in the fog and the fog has a mountain hiding in it, it's going to be a bad day for you. And it was a bad day for President Raisi. Now, I talked a lot about I'm going to talk a lot here on the CBN live, I'm about to do, about the type of helicopter he was flying, about why this doesn't necessarily have to include any kind of foul play, although it certainly is possible. And if it is possible, what kind of foul play we might be looking at here. Somebody asked what kind of wildlife they have here. They have bears here. Hey, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Really appreciate all the donations and everything. That helps keep me out here in the field. They have these bears here that are white with brown spots, almost like a Palomino pony. They're beautiful. I mean, I haven't seen any in person. If I did, I wouldn't stick around long. But they do have wolves, they do have bears, and they do have snakes. We saw some snakes when we were hiking yesterday near Yerevan. So, yeah, I'm going to be talking about all of that and more in just a few minutes on the CBN YouTube channel. So I would really appreciate it if y'all would go get a drink, go to the bathroom, and come back and tune in just a few minutes, as I'm going to be talking about a lot more details that are now coming out about the death of President Raisi, and we can answer more of your questions over there. So thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting, and I appreciate all of you. We'll see you again in just a few minutes over on CBN's webpage. YouTube channel. We'll see you.